Oh, that goes there. I'm like, oh my God, this is way above my standards.
That was very nice. Margarita. Yeah, she said she was baking all day yesterday.
Kid, is that Sylvia down there with Margaret right now?
No,
No,
she's not here.
she's not here. I'm gonna look at you for last name. Give a
All right.
please. Because I know I'll get up there. I get nervous, you know, up here.
Do you need a pen?
No, it's somewhere in my purse.
Oh, okay. Okay, I think I have,
Multiple.
3 or 4.
Thanks. I get nervous when I start speaking on these microphones, and I'm afraid I'm a flub of it. No, I'm good. Thanks.
I do.
I have one. I copied one out.
How are you, Johnny?
Don't you believe it?
I happen to know better.
I like this format. It's a good format.
Oh yeah, this is what they're gonna do. They're not gonna pass it out to the people today, but I think it's great. And see, I can take each one of these, add it to the existing spreadsheet, and keep a running tally, and so that the data will be. It won't exactly translate, but we can run 2 spreadsheets.
Right.
I mean, 2 data sets.
Data sheets, yes, absolutely. I understand.
I know you do.
I absolutely understand.
That you do because I don't. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
no, you're absolutely doing great.
Well, I was telling.
And you can't eat them. I didn't make
I was just telling that. I had to turn in grades yesterday.
God bless you.
And I was just like going nuts. And I had 3 students who didn't do major papers,
Margarita,
180 points.
Thank you.
And I'm emailing them going, you didn't finish the paper. What? I mean, like my quizzes wouldn't have done that. Oh, we had to, or we get in trouble. Yeah, so why didn't you give me a paper?
I cooked them up fresh and made them for
busy.
Thank you so much.
Where are you sitting, young lady?
9 years old, and I am doing a hell of a lot more
How many tamales have you made? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's a new record.
That's awesome. I gotta get down to, I gotta get,
Color us spoons.
I just, I never have time to do anything these days.
I'm at 29
The
dozen.
dog takes preference.
Well, I've got to get the dog.
And guess, ask me how many I have. None.
Anybody you said you didn't
I
put?
don't.
Another one. I got one in my.
I tell you, we went up to,
I only need one. Here.
Yeah, no, I hear it. It's that time of year, isn't it? And then I made pasoli yesterday because I have a friend who has dementia, and I was making it for all the caregivers and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And she got put in the hospital last night. So
Good morning, everybody.
thing of pasoli.
Morning, Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas to everybody.
I thought, okay,
But get ready. Let's get started here this morning. I'm hoping that we could be expeditious this morning. Melanie's got 10,000 meetings to attend, and so we appreciate her. So want to help that. We need to take a roll call this morning. Can we start with the roll call down on the end there? Mr. Snow?
This is Rick. Rick Snow.
Sherry Jones.
Pat DeVivi.
Ken Martinez.
Barbara Boyd.
Johnny Martinez?
Ed Bowles.
Cynthia Nava.
And I guess Mr. Perea's not here, or not yet, I should say. All right, we need to approve the agenda. I'm trusting everybody had a chance to look over it.
I move approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. I guess we can get started here.
Approval of minutes is next
Oh, I didn't see the approval of the minutes. Okay.
from the last meeting.
I'm trusting everybody had a chance to look over the minutes. Do we have a motion to accept?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
All righty. Okay, good. We can get started with this. So I had a real busy week. I'd been out of town, so a few folks on the committee stepped up and they did some work for the past week. So maybe You folks can speak to that.
Yes, I'll speak for us. Last Sunday, Ken Martinez,
This has to be closer to you.
sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, that's
Okay,
better.
good. Thank you, Barbara. Last Sunday, Ken Martinez, Barbara Boyd, and I met to put together the written comments that we've received to date, as well as comments, notes about your comments in the meetings we've held so far. So some of it was on paper in the form of a questionnaire. Some of it was taken from our notes because all three of us have made notes about each commenter through the meetings. So we tried to marry those, for lack of a better term, into a table. And we have a list now of concerns/needs, 29 categories of those, and then a tally of how many people responded to each one. And we're not handing this information out yet. We want to get survey information in first and perhaps roll it all together. And then you'll see what was reached through this process to date. But we wanted you to know that we've done that.
I just need to clarify also, Sherry's done a lot of work digitally, creating the product that she did. And so this is not to undermine hers, just that before we started any of that, we already had a lot of information. Folks had filled out those surveys that were in the village office, and some people had given some information. So that's basically what they were reviewing. The product that Sherry has is still what we'd like to use because it's digital and it's there. But we didn't want to lose the information we had already captured.
And we'll continue.
And I looked at this spreadsheet, and we're going to be able to roll it into the spreadsheet that we're using for the questionnaire. It'll be two different data sets, but we can figure that out. It'll work. And it'll be there forever, which is good.
And just so you know, every comment that you all made at these meetings from the beginning was noted by the three of us. We wrote notes on what you said. And every single comment that you said at this meeting, in addition to the written, was tallied as well. We came up with approximately 29 categories of feedback. So we didn't miss anything that you either told us or that you wrote to us in one form or another. We also looked at emails that you sent to Melanie, and you may have sent them to Johnny. We went through all those emails as well and broke them down, sentence by sentence to make sure that each of those comments was noted in one of the categories. And if we didn't have a category for it, we made a category for it. That's why we ended up with 29 categories.
Okay, beautiful. I guess we can talk about, are there any questions about that public survey piece for anybody? No? Okay. So moving forward, we had set some dates for the 11th and the 14th of January, just because there were concerns from people that, they weren't able to come to these meetings in the morning. So we came up with the dates. If some of you were at the last meeting, the 11th and the 14th of January, the 11th at the old church at 5:30. We're hoping that's late enough for people to get off of work, but early enough that people can still go home and take care of family stuff. And then the other date was the 14th of January. We were not able to come up with a different location. Sherry tried contacting schools. Their rules have changed there. Melanie had mentioned the rec center, but they have a tournament. So they won't have anybody available to clean that for use the following morning. I did go out to Sandia View Academy. I spoke to some administration staff there, but they're all caught up with Christmas and plays and all that kind of stuff. And so they were very candid in saying they probably wouldn't get back to me for probably through the holidays, right? So in the meantime, I spoke with Ken, and he said that the old church is available on the 14th, but earlier in the day, it'd be at 2:30. So does that work for all the committee members?
We thought that if it was going to be on a Sunday, that we do it early as opposed to evening Sunday. So it would be after lunch, before dinner, and so about 2:30 we said.
Ed, you had a comment?
I'm not going to be available either day
Okay,
because of a trip we have planned.
okay,
Sorry.
all right. These are going to be public forums settings, so I don't think we'll be talking as much as we will be facilitating. Barbara, these folks talked about it briefly, what they kind of thought about how it should go. Well, I'll let you talk and then I'll.
Yeah, we felt like we needed some structure to those, even though they were going to be open public forums, but we still need to make sure everyone is heard. And so we came up with a very rough structure for those two public forums. The first thing is to provide an orientation to everybody about the process to date, meaning starting all the way last year to the first committee to now. So we're going to kind of briefly go through that process and just report to you what has happened. So we're going to also talk about the the survey, and by that time we will have it all. Well, right now the survey is translated. What isn't translated is the introduction, because we were working on that to the very last minute. So we're gonna get that translated. Margarita and Sylvia have graciously volunteered to do that also. They did the original survey. And then we're gonna get some feedback from all of you about the process, whoever attends. And then we're gonna do a summary of what we heard, and then some next steps. So that will be our rough structure for that, for those two public forums.
Yeah, of course.
As I've been going through the feedback on the survey and stuff, some people are real hesitant to use a QR code, or they don't want to, they don't want to give out their email or whatever. So I suggest, and I'll volunteer to do it if we need to, that we can open up the spreadsheet and put comments straight into the spreadsheet without having to gather all that information. We can get a couple of people with laptops to do that. It'll be really simple, so that we can get that feedback as well. And I can understand that they don't want to do that. So, but any way to get information is great. So we could add that to our format.
And if they're present, that's fine. The whole, it's just an issue of accountability as far as why we had to have names and stuff. So I can understand people being apprehensive about that. So
No, and in fact, I told them that there were going to be town hall meetings, and I didn't give the dates because we didn't have them firmed up, but I let them know there would be town hall meetings, and they'd be at times when people were not working. And so they said they would come and put their information in that way. So
beautiful, beautiful.
We also are going to have someone recording in handwriting or computer possibly the feedback that we're getting from the public forums at the time that it's happening. So that'll be, we're not going to do audio recordings, but we will be doing written.
That said, we're not going to have Zoom ability like we have here. But I think it's perfectly fine to throw it out there. If somebody wants to set up an iPad and film the thing, that'd be perfectly fine. I don't see a problem with that. Does anybody? So, and I'll address that a little bit later, but just you guys can chew on that. But because I think we should probably record it. I know I go back over the meetings. I kind of listen to information that was put out. That way I can get my head straight on all the things we talked about. So that's out there. If somebody wants to do that, that would be good. Anything else with that, Ken?
No.
So along with that, we talked briefly at the last meeting about putting together ad hoc committees. We talked with Melanie about the legalities of having, if we didn't have a quorum, we could actually have some committee members with some community volunteers to do certain tasks. So So I asked the people beforehand, I have a list here. Or I have a sign-up sheet. If any of you want to involve yourselves in any of the projects that we might come up with, I've got this little list here. This is just for us to contact you, say, hey, you might be interested in this. I did talk, I was able to find Mr. Miera's phone number and call him and asked him if he would want to help with the PR stuff, because we're going to have these ad hoc, I'm sorry, we're going to have these public forums, and a lot of people don't know about it. I went to the Posadas this last Tuesday, ended up having to play Joseph, but I went just to watch. The lady was pretty slick. She says, do you believe in the hereafter? I said, yes. She says, good, I'm here after Joseph. Can you play him? I said, okay. So I ended up being Joseph. But I did ask some folks, and they didn't have a clue about any of this, any of these happening. So we are going to put together a list of folks that want to help with the PR and just getting the word out. Pat DeVivi said she'd help me, and then maybe we can get some people from the community and we can put out information and know that that's, and I've made this, I talked with Barb a little bit. You know, there were folks in the first committee that were very pro this facility, and hey, we want everybody's help. So those folks are all invited to help us out, and we're going to do whatever we do. We're going to try to do it as a community. And so I want to get community involvement from both sides, everybody's voice matters. And so that's going to be one of the ways we do it, is by soliciting public assistance, and you guys all work together and we'll come up with something. So I'll have this list in the back, and then if you volunteer for something, you may be working with a committee member, and it may be, I just need you to put some things out here, or I need you to talk to this group or something. Yes, sir.
In that vein, Johnny, are we going to discuss outreach to people who would like to participate but need assistance to do so? We touched on this in a previous meeting. There may be people who just can't make any public forum date, who don't use technology in a way that allows them to participate, or may have a disability that prohibits them from participating in what we have outlined so far. So I'm interested in hearing from anybody who is in one of those categories or knows about people in those categories, to see if we can make those connections.
Cynthia?
Would it be beneficial to send the survey out with the Meals on Wheels program? Because that's probably the people you're talking about. I'm saying that because at the library, we're going to be sending out a questionnaire so we can send books to them and magazines as well as food. And we could send out.
I think it's a very good idea. I don't think anything's off the table. I think we can, anything, you know, and I'm not in that community,
Yeah.
so I don't know, maybe as well
To
as,
go over there since I already made a contact with them.
yeah.
So, okay.
And so, you know, and if there's folks in the community, if you know somebody that needs that information, then we'll work that, you know. That's something you know, it's not present, so I don't know how to address it, but as we find out, we'll work something out. That'll be up to that committee to try to figure out something to make that happen.
So I probably have a question. Would you be doing a hard copy?
I don't know. What do you
survey?
think? I mean, yeah, I think that would
Well, I
probably
want
work
Sherry
better.
to weigh in on that, is what
Don't
I
you think
want.
that would be easier for them?
It would be easier for them, but then we have to
I could
enter it
compile it.
all.
It wouldn't be-
You would compile it?
Yeah, we just, okay, if you'd write, okay, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think we can do both. We can do the flyer, and then, we could do, the hard copy's kind of lengthy, so it could cost, I mean, it's the cost of hard copies could be a little bit expensive, so we'd have to look into that. But yeah, I don't think that there's a problem with doing both. And, you know, and also if there was some, I don't know if they're interested at one of the senior citizen activities or something, I don't mind coming over and entering stuff right in. If you just have to give me enough leadway
know.
so I can
Happy
clear
to
my
go in.
schedule.
good.
Yeah, and I'm happy to go in and just go right into the spreadsheet if we can. If it is, I mean, within reason, I can't do it every day, but yeah, I'm happy to do whatever we have to do.
I think I would wait until after Christmas, I think. 'cause it's
Yes,
crazy.
please.
yeah, well, you know, and that'll be, I guess, up to that ad hoc committee. You know, some people that might be the time for them to get out because they're not working, and that, hey, if you're willing to do that, that's fine. But I just want to make that make that available to everybody, or we wanted to make it available to everybody, solicit your help in getting the information out. That would be for the survey, for the forums, for anything that we're doing. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I wanted to ask too, I think that takes care of a lot of people, but it doesn't take care of many people with disabilities that may not be a senior. And I'm not sure that I don't know if there's an organization or anything in Corrales that anyone, do you know?
I'm on the Disability Rights of New Mexico Board,
Perfect.
so I'll get information on Corrales specific individuals.
Yeah, how we could get the information out to them, that would be fabulous, Cynthia, thank you.
Okay.
And I know that's also, this Sandoval County has people that, the case managers that work with that, so we can probably reach out to them somehow.
Johnny.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
In that category of that Ed was mentioning is also primary Spanish-speaking individuals that will need some help, possibly even with the written Spanish version. We had talked earlier about maybe having a time and place where a few people would be set up with their computers to actually, have that be able to be inputted by folks that come. So that's one thing. The other point is that this first ad hoc committee is public relations or PR. Getting the word out really is the main way to describe it. And that's the one that Pat volunteered for. So as you're writing down your names on there, if you want to specifically state, I want to be on that committee to publicize this process of survey and meetings and all of that, please note that in your sign up, because I think Pat and whoever else on this committee that wants to be on it can begin to set up some times to meet so that you can plan a strategy for that.
After the holidays, yes, please.
Okay. Anything else? Any inputs with that, you guys? Okay. All right. With that, I guess if nobody else has any inputs on that, we can move to, we're done with item 6, everybody? Yes. Okay, well, we can move to the public input. Melanie?
First up is John Schuman. Yes. And if you could state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning. I'm John Schuman. I know most of you. We reside at 526 Albino Road, just around the corner from Sherry, here in Corrales, 87048. I appreciate the opportunity to come here and really applaud everything that you guys are doing. And I come here with several hats, but I'm only going to speak with 2. And the first is that I'm president of Music in Corrales. I'm president of Corrales Cultural Arts Council, that is Music in Corrales and Music in Schools. But I also come here with another 2 hats, both of which are related. I led the first ACE committee and am chair of the new ACE committee that we call FACE, which is the not-for-profits that has been formed to continue the work that we're all doing, should we ever have that opportunity. But first I'll talk about Music in Corrales. It's a very unique institution in our village, and we think adds a lot of value to the quality of life that's here. Last year, through no fault of anyone's, our seating capacity at Old Church was reduced from 175 to 150. And that had significant impact on what we do and how it is that we conduct our business. We had to alter our business model, which is not that big a deal. We're flexible. We are an all-volunteer organization, but that has had so significant impact on us. I just remind everyone that for many years, with a seating capacity of 175, we sold out every concert. We sold out every concert. So you can imagine what's happened now with the reduction of our seating capacity to 150. It's been really dramatic. We're hoping that you will come up with some reasonable recommendations about a size and seating capacity for an auditorium. And we say auditorium because we realize that it's more than a theater, and it's more than a concert hall. It is an auditorium that can be used for all kinds of different things. School plays, village forums, my goodness, you're struggling to come up with space for a forum. It can be used for all kinds of different things, college classes, the whole thing. But we're hoping that you come up with a reasonable accommodation for the number of seats in an auditorium. We could sell out 200, there's no question at all. And believe me, we would be more than willing to pay for our fair share of whatever the cost of operation of the facility were. That is not an issue. There has been discussion here about the fact that, and I do read your minutes, that this shouldn't be a regional facility. It should be a regional facility, if you know it or not. Most all of the facilities that we have in our wonderful village are regional. So as an example, with the comprehensive survey that was sent out, I took it upon myself for my organization, as Ken did for the Historical Society, and sent a letter.
That's time, but finish your thought.
Sent a letter to all of the Corralians that are on our 1,400 member mailing list. That was only 282 people. So our mailing list is 1,400 people. And as regionals, our patrons are coming from all over. The last point that I'll make is that there has been criticism about the fact that the center, as was proposed in the concept drawing, and I remind you that it was a concept drawing, used up about 70% of the space. I would contend for you and with you that auditorium space would account for more than 70% of the revenues for the center. So when you look in terms of divvying up space between education rooms and 4-H rooms and things like this, think about who will really be paying for the operation of this center. Thank you. If I can help you at all by giving you access to information that I have, I'm more than happy to do that. Thanks.
And up next is Fred Hashimoto. If you could also state your name and address for the record, you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Fred Hashimoto. I live at 485 East La Entrada. Happy winter solstice, first of all. I'd like to show you, I have just a couple pictures and it won't take very much time. Diagrams you've seen before. However, the difference in this diagram and previous diagrams is got some red diagonal lines. And those red diagonal lines basically are the space that this regional theater is purported to take. It's got dressing rooms, it's got a couple of dressing rooms, it's got rehearsal rooms, it's got large storage areas, it's got, anyway, and this shows too that this is just a cross section and it hasn't been shown on the recent sections of this, is that you can see where the seating is terraced here. You know, this is very fixed seating. This can only be used for certain things. The space here is dead space, it's storage space. And, you know, we're talking about space and we'd like to have space. Anyway, now the community theaters, local theaters that exist, including Adobe Theater, you know, usually like to have seating less than 100 because it's financially, as we've heard, most feasible, and also aesthetically is most feasible. You have a set audience. I don't believe that having this much space, this much economic, financial type of input into a regional theater really is justifiable. And you've heard John Schuman talk about regional theater, that it benefits our neighbors. That's fine. Anyway, I'd like to propose a solution, mentioned it briefly before, of performance space. This is, the bottom is a performance space on 3rd Street. It holds, it's a flat floored area. It holds 200 to 220 seats. They're movable and is very successful. It would meet the performance seating that Mr. Schumann's talked about. He wants 200. This holds, 200 to 220. It's got better lighting than the current facilities might have. It's got acoustics. They've worked at it. And this is a possibility. And I think we ought to really be looking at this. So it's not only a performance arts center, it can be used for dances, it can be used for exhibitions, it can be used for a lot of different functions. And actually, one really nifty thing I think is it really serves a need. Corrales doesn't have a space like this. The old church has its limitations. The rec center has its limitations. They don't want dragging chairs on their polyethylene floors. The community center is minute. But, this has a lot of space. This has a lot of functionality. And it's really open to a lot of different uses beside performing arts center. But it does meet the needs of what Mr. Schumann's talked about, and it's successful, it's worked. And so I think this is a potential to have a space for Corrales, a space for the needs of Corrales, and it's focused on Corrales. Thank you very much.
Mr. Hashimoto, Fred, could you answer a question, please?
I'd be glad to.
Is that facility you just showed us a photo of a publicly owned or privately owned place?
It's privately owned. It used to be called Beethoven's Church. It's now a charter. And they do very well. I mean,
Chatter does very well.
yeah, I mean, they just do very well.
And it's on First Street?
It's on 3rd Street.
3rd Street, okay,
Yeah.
thank
They
you.
just moved, they moved not too long
Okay.
ago.
Yeah, they have a standalone facility.
Do you remember? Oh, sorry.
I don't know where it's 3rd. It's sort of downtownish area.
It's not where the old downtown JC's was it? Where they used to perform?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's south of
okay.
Mountain. I don't know.
I think I know where it is. Thanks, I just was wondering. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Next up will be Rudy Miera, and if you could say your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you. My name is Rudy Miera. Marianne and I live at 116 East Meadowlark. And greetings, Feliz Navidad to committee members, to fellow villagers. I noticed that Councilor Miera is joining us here too, and actually that sparks off something in my mind. He is always talking about the youth. He even has somebody who's here with his council meetings. While we open up and expand our public dialogue, I would implore, probably Pat, this will come into your committee, that part of our outreach includes families. And I think the best place to do that is going to be on January 8th, which will be 4 days before our first town hall. The students will be returning to school here at Corrales Elementary. I would propose as part of our outreach, besides flyers or emails or whatever else goes out, that we design an invitation to families. Because kids can't get there without their parents driving them, so we get the parents. And we want kids to be there. I know there are discussions already taking place in the village about, well, where do the youth fit in? I used to teach at Taft Middle School, and there was a lot of Coraleños, a lot of kids from Corrales who chose not to go to Taylor, and they did go to Taft. And some of the things they did there were extremely creative. We had kids who were doing alternate book reports, and they were doing scenes out of books. And they were filming each other. And I was teaching them film editing. So when we talk about a facility that's village friendly, we can expand and develop the creative talents of our students. We can have, I know there's musicians, we had guitar club. There were kids who like to record their own songs, multi-track recording. Can you imagine? We have the only hay bale post office in the US, as far as I know. No better recording studio could be designed than a hay bale recording studio. Kids can come in, and I'll go further than that. I know we have people in the village who have done intergenerational projects. And what they've done is they've had kids film interviews con los ancianos, with our viejitos, our village elders, and then they have edited them into videos and stuff like that. That can take place in a youth media center, which would be soundproof, and that can just be one of those things. But we can't talk about it or for them. We have to talk with them. So I'm going to implore that we send out, before school ends this Friday, if we can talk to the principal about having an invitation, we could deliver to the school on January 8th, and that gives them 4 days to plan for the first town hall. Maybe the parents can help them do their homework early. They can go to that 5:30 meeting or come on Sunday. Yes,
I just got the email address for the PTA president at Corrales Elementary.
more,
So
better.
I'm going to be sending out information to them, and I will ask them if it's possible for us to put together a flyer. And if so, we'll let you know.
Right, and I think it would be good to have, again, for people who don't have access or people who don't use technology that much, if we have hard copies in hands, the kids take home, okay, with their homework.
We're also contacting the 4-H people
And the
as well.
4-H people.
So we
All
are,
of
we are very cognizant of the youth and know that their voice is important, and families as well. So, but yes, we are trying to do that, and I'll use your example.
Thank you for your work, Sherry, and all of you.
So Rudy, that'll be part of the PR group. Yeah, we'll get that information. The Sherry's already collected some, and that'll be part of that working group.
Oh,
great.
Kids get a free piece of cheapo if they show up.
Are you making them?
They get a serenade.
That's all you're speaking.
That's it. And we want to thank you for stepping up. Melanie had to step out.
sure,
So
no
thank you,
problem.
Sky.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Okay, so on our agenda, we have other business. It occurred to me that we hadn't established any dates to finish out, so we need to, oh, yes, that was all the public comments, correct?
Yes, that was it.
Okay, all right. No, that's fine. So we probably need to discuss the last few dates that we have. We haven't talked about that. Any inputs on that?
I just want us to do it so I don't schedule a vacation that conflicts with 2 of the forums.
So we need dates for February then. The 2 dates in January, we'll take up our 2 dates for January.
I just have a question. Melanie wanted me to ask you when your next regular meeting will be so that we can get that onto the website. So I know you have your 2 forums, but your next regular meeting will need to get on there. Okay?
So we didn't schedule any dates for 2024. So in my opinion, we were going to use the open forum dates as regular meeting dates. Committee members, what's your inputs on that? I didn't think we were going to have, me personally, I didn't think we have anything other than that because we need the information before we can press forward, in my opinion. What say you? Anybody on the committee?
Well, I'll just raise the fact that post-public meeting time, we're going to need to work together as a big group. And we can't do that legally without announcing the meeting and inviting the public, right? I'm getting a nod over there. So,
well, we may have to, this is my opinion, maybe we can split our group up so not everybody gets taxed with it. I think our group, we can probably split up to where it could be 2 legal groups. And just kind of work that way.
I
don't know,
agree
what
with
do you folks say? And that way, not everybody's taxed to go to every meeting and, it's just gonna take some time.
Mr. Chair, I agree with that approach. It's just that I have a feeling that at some point, to really wrap it up together, we're going to need to meet as the whole committee. Just a sense that that'll be necessary.
Okay,
So I think we should at least try to set one meeting.
all right, Cynthia, I see you nodding, what do you think?
I think it might be beneficial to have a regular meeting after the 2 forums, just to process what we learned.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay,
I need that because I won't be at the forums.
Yeah. Then you can see what.
all right, so then we have a motion to make it, set a date for
So moved.
January?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so let's find that date.
2 weeks after the second one, if we stick with a Thursday, would be February 1st.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's good.
Fine,
I'm looking at it right now.
February 1st, okay,
And that would be at 10 o'clock here.
and it'll be, yeah,
Are we gonna do it here?
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So Sky, is this room available that Thursday morning?
I won't know. I don't have a schedule for I don't have anything for February yet. I don't think there's going to be a conflict. That should be okay.
Yeah, I think that's why we had settled on the Thursdays.
And can I just ask a quick question? So for the two forums that you're doing, the 11th and the 14th, are they both going to be at the old church or just the one? Both, and
Both.
at
Both.
5:30, is that correct?
And the second one.
2:30.
2:30 at, okay,
The second one.
That's on the 14th.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah, the Thursday in the evening and the Sunday in the afternoon. All right, so that's for the first. So then do we want to set a second date for February? So we,
Yes.
Yes.
15th,
2 weeks later.
the 15th?
the
Yeah,
15th.
15th would be 2 weeks later.
Okay,
15th is clear.
so we have the 1st and the 15th. And our deliverable should be when? March.
March 12th, I think, is the deliverable date currently set. Does that sound right? What's the first council meeting in March? I think that's the 12th.
Oh, now you're quizzing me here. I believe it is the 12th. I don't have my.
So we want to do this 7th of March, or is that too close to the deliverable date?
Maybe the
Wow.
29th. We've got
Maybe the 29th?
3 Thursdays in February.
Okay, 29th of February? Does that work for everybody?
Just a minute.
I think it's the 12th.
Okay, so do we have a motion for those 2 dates?
Your day?
That was, yeah.
That should be good luck with me.
We won't have to show up. So do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second
What was the last date?
for the 29th,
February 29th.
Okay.
Leap year.
4 years from now.
As long as it's not
First, 15th, and 29th.
I think that's fine, but I would like to put out on the table that, in my feeling, we're not going to be able to wrap up everything with survey data. And I've mentioned in other meetings that I think this committee should come up with some concrete recommendations to the council that are based upon what we've learned. Because I think we're going to learn a lot. Even though the data may be limited, we're still going to learn a lot. We've already learned a lot now. And with public forums and survey data, we're going to learn a lot more. So I suggest that we consider asking the mayor and the council for an extension of the life of this committee for 3 more months to be able to, continue the work. And by the end of that time, which would be June, I think, we would have a really solid report with specific recommendations to make, because I think we owe it to the council and the mayor to be specific and concrete, and make all of this time that we've been meeting every Thursday and in the public forums worthwhile. And so that public input is worthwhile and considered in any final report that we have. The council eventually is going to need to make decisions about all of this. And I would think that as a council, they would want to have some very specific information to work from in order to be able to make some solid decisions.
So while I agree with that, we do need to set a date. So are we, regardless of what we do, we need to set a date for us to meet, right? So
Yeah.
are we good with the 29th as the second date? You
I thought we had decided.
third date.
It was done.
yeah, but we
didn't-
at first we didn't get a second because Ken wanted to.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, good. So then those will be the dates. And then we'll discuss that. We'll discuss, once we've had the forums and once get some information together, my opinion is that we'll have a better idea of where we need to go next,
Yeah.
and how to do that.
Did we vote on asking for an extension? Because I think we should.
We have not yet. And my opinion would be that we should wait till we have some information so that when I go before the council and the mayor and council, I can say, this is what we've got, and therefore we would like, I don't want to say
That makes
that.
sense. That makes
Does that
sense.
make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, before I go into, Yeah, I'd like to have some bullets in my gun before I go shooting it. So,
I have a slightly different opinion. One is that I don't think we should ask for an extension at the end of the time. I think if we're going to ask for an extension, we should ask for it at least a council meeting before, so that they can consider it, so that there's continuity and not a gap between, asking and not, so I don't think we should wait till afterward to do, to formally request an extension. I think we need to do it before.
what say you? No, not before the forums. My opinion would be after the forums.
Not the forums, no,
It would be after the forums, and then we'd have a better idea of,
February.
But we
Yeah,
don't
we-
know, right?
yeah, we can talk about it then.
But we're not saying we're going to ask, we're saying we're going to examine asking, or what are we saying? What is the question?
We have 3 motions on the table.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Mine is not a motion, it's a comment. I'm just saying that as we plan, and because Johnny was saying that we'll decide after this committee ends about
After the
asking,
forum.
No, after the forums,
after the forums. okay?
after the forums, so that we can have
That
some
would be
information to present.
Right.
Yeah,
It could be February.
yeah, I just don't want to get up and say I want more time, and for what? I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
So I'd like to have some information, and we can talk about it, what information we need to present and for our case, right? Okay,
So what do you think the motions are on the table, Sherry?
Well, as best I can follow right now. One was to ask for an extension, one was to wait until after the village council, but I'm willing to say, can we just have a motion to say what we're going to do is that we'll consider asking how about we just amend it? That's it. How we amend the motion to say we will consider asking for an extension after our public forums. Does that make sense? Okay.
I think the first motion was just to set the 3 dates.
Right.
In
right, we established that.
February.
But we haven't voted.
We haven't voted.
We haven't voted on it.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
We got a motion and a second, but not
okay,
a vote.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now Sherry, say your new one.
Here we go again. Okay.
Or your old one.
I'm
Asking for an extension.
Yeah, I move that we consider asking for an extension after we've completed our public forums and before our meeting that we have to give our recommendations to the village.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Question.
Johnny?
Question.
Yes.
Just so that you're aware, so the council meetings for February are February 13th and February 27th. So if you're going to do this and ask for an extension, that only really gives you
Because it's two
two meetings, but one of the meetings for the council is the 13th. So February 27th, you would have your 2 meetings after your, just so you guys know. And
Thank
then
you.
March, it is the 12th and the 26th.
okay, I think that'll be fine. I can probably email, drop an email, let everybody review it, and I can send that to them ahead of time, so they'll be apprised of that before I even talk to them. That makes sense? Okay.
I think that's all, just those two. Yeah.
All righty, so we discussed the dates, we discussed the ad hocs, we had some community input, we established some new dates. Anything else we need to discuss today, Sherry?
It's not a discussion, but it's a request. If anybody has contact information for the Eagle Scouts or the Boy Scouts, I don't have any. If you would just come, that's another good group that we should ask. Or if you have any other youth organizations or something like that, if you could get me some emails, I can start emailing out some things to them as well. Thanks. This is just to send out the questionnaire too.
Yeah, along with that, we're going to have these different groups, and we'll have this PR group, the advertising group, whatever you want to call it. You may not want to be involved with any of those groups, but if you have information that you want to volunteer to those groups, that would be good for us to have. Just like Sherry said, if you have any ideas regarding that, hey, we're willing to take all the input. Yes, ma'am.
Just on a point of personal privilege,
Yes.
I had an opportunity to go to the old church, the nativities. Oh, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. The nativities that were there this weekend, and I thought it was phenomenal. I can't quit thinking about it. And it just spurred me on to, we have such great art and celebration of art in the community. And it just encourages me to work even harder on this committee to make sure that we get what's workable for the
But don't
village.
play Joseph.
Johnny,
I didn't have to, play, I only played myself.
Johnny,
Johnny?
Yes.
I forgot the Girl Scouts and the Brownies and who, sorry, I can't believe me of all people forgot them. Sorry, please let me know.
Just a final comment on Cynthia's, our chair for that committee is Alice Glover right here, and she was responsible for putting that on.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So I guess we're getting ready to close here. Rick, do you have any final thoughts?
No, we did good today.
Sherry?
No, except to thank everybody for the treats. How nice was that? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so if we do extend the meetings, we need more treats. So, everything in this life is conditional, I'm sorry.
Especially pastelitos.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ken, you have anything else?
No, thank you.
I know I'm
and
there. She's-
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Cynthia, anything else? No?
Move to adjourn.
Ed?
I second the motion to
Well, I was
adjourn.
just gonna ask Pat. Pat, do you have any,
We are discussing this, though.
okay, but do you have any,
Not a personal,
do you have any final thoughts?
any what?
Final thoughts for the group?
Thoughts? No, but thank you all for coming and thank you for the goodies. And I hope you'll all, not all, or many of you will help me with my committee.
Okay, Barb, anything?
I'm looking forward to all of us working together on recommendations as we go forward. So thank you all for caring, thank you for coming, and thanks for the treats.
Good, yes. Yeah, sigue trayendo todos los postres. I like these. We had a first, we had a second. All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Aye. Feliz Navidad.
So we got interrupted. Okay.
I only use this.